My immigration videos definitely strike a chord with so many people, and I can tell based on some of your comments that too many of y'all haven't got the first sweet clue of what it takes to become an immigrant to Canada, or any other country for that matter. One of the most common comment themes I read on my videos is along the lines of, well, I'm not against immigration, but these new immigrants are mooching off the system. They only came here for the handouts, and I think a lot of Canadians are upset about all the crime they commit over here. So let me shred that BS right here and now. I'll do it first by telling you what it costs to immigrate to Canada. But before I tell you, are there any guesses? Recent immigrants can tell you, but for those of you who don't know, it's going to cost a family of four about 40 grand. Yeah, you heard that right, $40,000. So how does that add up? Well, the core government application fees are $1,500 per adult. Then add mandatory expenses for language tests, biometrics, a medical exam, and a police clearance certificate, and that becomes more like $3,000 for an individual. For a family, it's another $1,500 for the spouse-partner application and $260 per dependent child. Some provinces also have what's called provincial nominee program fees. This ranges by province from as low as $250 to as high as $1,500 in Alberta because, they don't really want immigrants there anyway. Next, immigrants are required to prove they have sufficient funds to support themselves and their family upon arrival. The amount required is set by law and is adjusted annually. For 2025, a single applicant needs 15,263 Canadian dollars, while a family of four needs 28,362 Canadian. How about legal fees? While not mandatory, many people do hire an immigration lawyer or consultant to assist with their application. These services can cost several $1,000s. And if the application documents are not in English or French, they need to pay for a certified translator. Then there's the cost of plane tickets, initial housing costs, like first and last month's rent, and other relocation costs. So at a rough estimate, a family immigrating to Canada can expect to pay upwards of $10,000 for the privilege of doing so. And again, demonstrate they have another $30,000 in the bank to support themselves after arrival. So 40 grand. How many of y'all have 40 grand burning a hole in your pocket? That's what I thought. You haven't got two nickels to rub together, and yet immigrants are the problem? Okay, Martha. That's the cost of moving possibly halfway around the world, starting over from scratch. And the reality is most of you wouldn't be able to even scrape together the money. You don't even have enough room left on your credit card, let alone be willing to move far away from all your supports, your friends, your family, the familiarity of your surroundings, and start over somewhere else. Put yourself in the shoes of those immigrants. Imagine you move somewhere else for the chance at a better life. You have nothing but the clothes in your back. You don't speak a word of their language. You spend your life savings to do it. Then you get stared at, mocked, teased, insulted, berated, and told to go back from where you came from. Accused of being a criminal. How would that make you feel, son? Wouldn't feel very nice, would it? But before you smash that comment button like the good little keyboard warrior you are and say something like, but we didn't ask them to come here, or no one forced them to come here, or well then they can just go back to wherever they came from if they don't like it here. Just remember, no one gives an F about your feeble ass opinion. Because you might not have asked them to come here. Hell, it's clear you don't want them here. But our government did. Actual experts have studied the economics of it, and our economy is effed without immigrants. There are not enough Canadian workers to do the jobs and fund the social safety net and grow our economy. But you are right. No one forced them to come here. They willingly spent all that money you don't have, to come here for the chance at a better life, just like your ancestors did a couple hundred years ago. Yet instead of respecting how much money they spent to get here and how hard they're willing to work to get ahead and how big of a contribution they can make to our economy, you complain about it. Instead of being happy about the prospect of a highly educated workforce, you're having a tantrum about it. And they are, for the record, far more educated and intelligent than you. Do you know how many immigrants that are qualified as doctors and lawyers and engineers are driving bus? Working at Home Depot? I mean, seriously, dude, do you think someone who is only qualified to do a minimum wage job has the financial resources to pack up and move halfway around the world, do you? You think someone who's unqualified is going to move halfway around the world for a minimum wage job? Why would they spend all that money and isolate themselves away from their support network of family and friends, all for the sake of a job that pays $16 an hour? Do you honestly think well-educated, practicing professionals from another country can't wait to go work at Tim Hortons for $16 an hour? Use your head, Chad. Let's face facts. You're hella jealous because they're far more educated, intelligent, and harder working than you ever thought about being. And the only way you can justify your own lack of success is by painting a different picture. To say, they're taking our jobs. To assume they're uneducated and unintelligent. To assume they're criminals. They don't want that minimum wage job you can't even qualify for with your lack of education and intelligence. But they can't practice their chosen profession in Canada due to legal red tape. So they'll eat your lunch on you all day long because they spent a small fortune moving halfway around the world and they have a family to feed. Meanwhile, you can't even get your lazy ass off the couch to take the recycling to the curb on Tuesdays. So no, Martha, the problem isn't hardworking, educated, intelligent immigrants. And no one is going to spend 40 grand to come here, then risk deportation and lose all that by committing crimes. Especially after clearing a criminal reference check in the first place. But it's just too painful for you to admit the truth, isn't it? So painful that a bunch of you are having a protest about it in Toronto this weekend. And as much as I hope otherwise, there's bound to be some clashes that happen there between the anti-immigration racists and those who stand for human rights. It may even get physical. And you'll gladly fight another human being because of your jealousy. Sad, really. Peace out. And if you're not already following me, you should. It's going to be a ride.